These 10 community nodes will save you hours of work in n8n every single week. I've personally built over 150 client automations, and switching to these specialized nodes that I'm going to show you today will drastically cut my development time. What used to take days could now take hours. Most people waste entire afternoons trying to hack together complex HTTP requests when there's already a purpose-built node that does the job in minutes. So today I'm going to show you exactly how to install these game-changing nodes, demonstrate real use cases, and help you build professional-grade automations in a fraction of the time. So let's jump in with the first node. And if you want to learn how to build out complete AI automation systems, then check out the school paid community in the description link below. But right now, we've got n8n releasing a whole ton of new features every single week, and they're starting to bring in more of these community nodes as new official integrations within n8n. So I'm going to show you today from their post yesterday, all of the different nodes that I think could absolutely be game changers for you. So the first one we're going to start with is upload-post. So this, in short, is a simple API for posting across all your social media platforms at a fraction of the price. So you've probably seen Buffer and Hootsuite, and they're always really expensive to post to all your social media platforms. But n8n has now got an official integration with Upload Post. So to install this and install any of the ones we're going to show you today, you go into the tab or the plus icon up here, type in any of the names of the platforms that we're going to use today, and you'll see that this has a tick, which is an official node maintained by Upload Post, but also integrated into n8n. So this is going to appear without having to install the community node. And you're going to click on this, and there's going to be an install button up here. You're going to install that. But before you install it, you can see all of the actions you can take in the app as well. So once you click install, it's going to allow you to actually bring one of these nodes into the platform. So when you type in Upload Post, you can then choose one of the relevant actions like uploading photos, uploading a video, or uploading a text post. And if we go to Upload Post directly, it's all about a simple API for TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, X, and more. So a really powerful platform to just send LinkedIn posts, X posts, etc. with videos, much simpler than going directly through n8n and actually linking each of these platforms individually, creating a post for LinkedIn, creating a post for X, which often requires a complex setup, whereas inside Upload Post, as I'm going to show you, it's very simple to set up. And in terms of the pricing, you can actually get a free plan here. So you can do 10 uploads a month completely for free just to try this out. Everything except TikTok, which you are required to have a paid plan for. And if you want to upgrade, then you can get 120 uploads a month, which is a lot if you think about it. That's 4 uploads a day for $14 a month, which is significantly cheaper than a lot of the other platforms out there for social media integration. And you can see all the platforms down here. What you're going to do is go to sign up, and it gives you a step-by-step on how to get your API keys and connect your first social media account. And the even more powerful thing about when you start to sign up to Upload Posts is actually you can have different user profiles. So I can have my user profile connected to all of these different accounts, but also my business user profile connected to different accounts. And I can post from various accounts like that. So it's an all-encompassing way to post from various accounts using an API that's integrated with n8n. And when you start signing up and trying to connect accounts, it's going to push you through authentication. So really simple. All you need to do is just log into your account that you're connecting to, allow it access, which compared to when you're creating nodes yourself and trying to post on LinkedIn, etc., directly through n8n, you would need to set up an app account, which if you've done it before, you know is quite complex. You need to go into the backend developer account for LinkedIn, for Facebook, for X, and create an app account and actually do all that hard work yourself. Whereas Upload Post does that for us, albeit at a little bit of a cost on a monthly basis. So if we authorize access to that account, we can now see that we've connected one account to that, and it will tick those boxes as we go through. We're going to generate an API key and then take that back to the node and show you what we can do with this. So if we come back with our API key, we open up Upload Posts, we can upload photos, we can upload text posts, and we can upload a single video. So we can do multiple photos, single video. So I'm just going to upload a text post at first. We're going to come into the node and we're going to set up our credentials. So we're going to put in our API key inside here. We're going to click retry there, and that's going to successfully test and connect up here. We'll come out of that, and what we're going to do is effectively get our user identifier, which is the profile name you created in your Upload Post account. So actually that was just Simon for me. So it's just this profile name here, and we'll test that in a moment. And then we're going to connect it to our LinkedIn, which we know we've connected to. We give it a title of the post, which is required. And then we've got a target LinkedIn page, which is the LinkedIn page ID to upload to an organization. And then all I'm going to do is put in the content inside here directly. So I'm going to test API post, and it's given me a success here. So I've run this with a manual trigger. It's given me a success here and actually returned the URL of the post. So let's go and check that out now. And there we go. Just like that, we have sent a test API post and published it directly on LinkedIn. I'm just going to delete that one now. And you can do exactly the same with all the other platforms, right? LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, X. Let's just quickly try the feature to upload a video directly. We can add a caption for the photo or the video, which I don't think is relevant here for LinkedIn. And then it gives us the option to upload a file or a URL. So actually, we can do this directly through a binary file. We don't necessarily have to have the video URL. So let's try that as well. We can choose the LinkedIn visibility, so public, connections, logged in. And traditionally, all of these platforms, when you upload videos to social media APIs, have always struggled with things like binary files. They always want you to upload them first. So I'm particularly interested to download a video test file. So I've uploaded this simple 33-second video that's demonstrating softer database, and I'm going to upload that directly past the video data in. So if I save that, I execute the workflow to download the file, and then I can just basically enter the binary property name, which here is going to automatically by default be data. We're going to put test API post with video, and let's see how this works. So let's execute the workflow and see if it can upload that binary file directly to LinkedIn and give us the URL of that. And it said it's successfully uploaded. So this might take a moment to load, and we've got video successfully uploaded. So if I go to my profile now, and you see we've got test API post with video, and it's actually uploaded the video here. You can see this running through, and what we're going to do is just delete that so that nobody sees it. But you can see immediately we've uploaded a video with a post directly to LinkedIn. It took about 5 minutes max to set up. So really powerful upload poster. We're now going to jump onto Octave and Autobound. So 2-in-1 here, which is all about scaling your personalized outbound and enhancing your lead enrichment. So they're paid services, but we want to see how powerful these nodes are. And we'll take a look at each service. And I've actually added another one here, Full Enrich. So these are 3 new integrated nodes inside n8n. And again, if you want to install them, just go Octave or Autobound or Full Enrich, and you click on that and you click the install button up here. But what we're going to do is show you these 3 powerful nodes and what they do. So Octave first is all about improving your outbound. So it allows us within the node to take lots of different actions. We can enrich a company, we can enrich a person, we can qualify a company, qualify a person, run some prospectors, or run certain sequences like generating emails for a person. So we're just going to have a look and compare that to something like Autobound. So Autobound is all about scaling your outbound. And one thing that's particularly cool about the actions inside Autobound is that you can generate emails, personalize email contents, and it supposedly goes out and gets 20 or 10 plus insights about a person. So we'll do that about me. It generates a LinkedIn message that's personalized, and it can even generate a cold call script. So I really want to see how well this does in that. And then we've got Full Enrich, which is slightly different, but it basically finds emails and phone numbers of our prospects and supposedly has an 80+% success rate of finding those emails. So all of these could be used to enhance your lead enrichment or lead generation workflows. If you're interested in building out a full lead gen system, then I built one using 10 plus Apify scrapers that I'll link down the video in the description below if you want to check that out as well. But these would enhance that as well and be integrated into those. Now, in terms of the pricing, Octave allows you a free plan, but then goes up significantly if you wanted to use this on a long-term basis, but we get 100 credits to try. We've then got Autobound, which again has a free 150 shared credits a month and then goes up, but is a bit cheaper than Octave. And then we have Full Enrich, which actually starts us at $29 a month, but supposedly we can get a free account to just try something for free as well. So when you sign up to these services, you've obviously got to go and find the API keys, etc. And each of the services kind of leads you through trying to customize what you're selling. So it leads you through a process on the onboarding where it determines by your website and your text inputs what product you're actually trying to sell potentially through these tools. And then inside Octave, we go to agents and we go to enrich person agent because that's what we're trying to do. And we need to basically get an ID of this enrich person agent to go back into this node, which is agent old name or ID. And what we're effectively doing on Octave by running a test here is exactly that. We are running a test so that we can work out what the agent does and what things it should return before we then give it the agent ID inside the node operation. So you need to first go to Octave, create that account, and perform a test on an agent, save the agent, and then take the ID back to the agent name. Then what we're going to do is input some things about who we want to enrich. So I'm just going to use myself as an example here with automake.io, my agency here, and my LinkedIn profile URL, which I'll paste in there as well. And hopefully it can come back with enriched information that is relevant for me. And you can see by running that already on a test in the dashboard that it's pulled information about me here, simultaneously serving as automations and AI expert on Upwork. So it's basically pulled information from my website here, or LinkedIn, sorry. It talks about previous roles, key expertise, career arc, etc. And this is actually quite impressive. It's pulled a lot of details from the LinkedIn profile here and talked about potentially the match to the product I'm selling. So head of business operation, therefore the confidence is high because my product is going to be sold, AI automation services, to a lot of head of business operations and that kind of role as well. So we're going to save the agent here. And hopefully then we will have a name or an ID. And if we go back to our agents, and we go to our enrich person agents, and if we refresh, it seems to have come up here. So we can now see the agent in here, which is called enrich agent for Pulse. If we go back here, we just need to copy the agent ID to clipboard, and we will then put that inside this here, or I can try and refresh and see if that agent loads. There we go. So enrich person for Pulse. And now we can actually execute that. So let's execute that there and see what it returns for my profile. And presumably it's going to return exactly the same as on the dashboard, but it's a really powerful way to either enrich a person, enrich a company, generate content for a person, qualify a person for a given product. So it gives us fields to actually put the information in, and then it will return a really detailed persona about us here. So you can see from what it's returned, it's actually returned a hell of a lot of information. So it's returned stuff about the product, which it's gone to automate.io. So the service provides dedicated AI engineering that tackles demanding processes. It talked about the role that I most recently had. So head of business operations. Head of business operations serves as the operational backbone of the organization. Talks about that specific role and the primary responsibilities and the pain points in there. It then has a use case. So the use case for the product that I'm selling, which is AI and automation services, which is like automated data reconciliation. So it has all of this information around actually the person that I'm trying to enrich, the company they work for and the roles they've been in, but also some use cases of our product, and even goes to the extent of giving stuff like value props and all the information that we saw on the dashboard. So current position, previous positions, key expertise, career arc, all of that information. So a lot of information enrich about this profile that we could then take away and actually use to write them a personalized message about this profile. So that is really cool there. And it's not only enriching a person, you can enrich a profile, enrich a company, and the agents are all built inside here, and they're called agents inside Playbook. So you've got all of these different things. We've got qualify person, qualify company, a prospect agent. So makes your life easier when you're trying to enrich. And also you can see if we refresh here that we should have used only 2 out of 100 credits. So you actually could use 100 of these for free. Let's move on to Autobound here. So the similar thing with Autobound, you set up a profile and then they have effectively an AI studio where we can create different campaigns. So let's go into the node here and let's try and generate a LinkedIn message to target me again. Now you can see this has got a hell of a lot of input fields. So we have our contact email. So let's do Simon@scrapes.ai. We've put in the LinkedIn URL. We've then got like the user email it's written on behalf of. So let's just make up one here. That it's sam@scrapes.ai, our LinkedIn profile. So we won't add that and we'll see if it responds. Is it going to be a connection request, direct message, and in-mail? Presumably it's going to change the tone based on that. Let's go with a casual tone. So actually you can customize this completely. It's going to create a message for us to send. We can add additional context, give it a word count, have multiple variations come back. So let's do 2 variations, change the language, and do all of these different things. Now I'm going to give it some very basic information and not even give it things like a value prop, a sales asset, or content to rewrite. And let's see what it can take from the website and see if it actually operates with these limited inputs here. And I've got the results in here, and it's basically given us some content here. So saw your Scrapes AI Academy teaches practical automation, scaling dispatch to 15,000 deliveries a month, which is something I mentioned on my LinkedIn, must have revealed workflow bottlenecks. Automate helps scale personalized outreach. Interested in exploring how? So it's actually given a like really casual intro direct message that is directly relevant to my profile. And the cool thing about this is underneath, you can see all of the different insights used. So it's basically taken the LinkedIn about me, which has all of my summary information. It's looked at my latest LinkedIn posts. So 268 YouTube subscribers to 25,000 today. It's then decided to do like a literal personality type assessment on my profile. Strong-willed and determined, pushes through obstacles, persuasive and enthusiastic, motivates others. It then talks about the potential, like based on how I speak, communication style suggestions. So use a formal and professional tone, balance conciseness with necessary details, use a rational and logical tone. And it even goes to the point of saying like, these are the psychological triggers that I would respond to. So social proof, use testimonials or case studies to build credibility. All these kind of things are in the insights used. And then we've got the second variation, because we asked for 2 variations here. Saw your Automation Academy hit 25K YouTube subscribers. Scaling scrapes must demand more time. Eliminating repetitive tasks could free up your time. Automate helps automate processes without code. So that one's a little bit more confusing in terms of the message and probably less how I'd write, but it's clearly taken some things from my insights and actually generated a personalized message there. So something very cool about that as well. And then I've come out to also demonstrate generating a cold call script. So I've not seen many automation services actually offer a complete cold call script that you can do from a personalized profile. So I've put in the same information, asked for a 2-minute quick pitch, 2 variations, and it comes out in almost exactly the same way. So we've got the full content with various options of hooks here. So the hooks on the cold call script could be, saw your LinkedIn post about the explosion of interest in practical automation. So that is literally an insight. It's pulled from my profile of one of the most recent posts I made. So very cool. How are you currently ensuring your automation efforts are delivering real results, not just complex systems? It then gives a second option for a hook there, and then even gives a follow-on kind of quick pitch questions. So it's like pain-driven questions. Most founders, especially those focused on growth like you, struggle with the time drain of manual tasks. Given your experience scaling businesses and your passion for practical automation, how are you currently freeing up your time to focus on growth initiatives? So it's asking me targeted questions that effectively would make me or somebody else answer in a way that pushes them to actually suggest the services that I'm potentially being offered. So again, it's got all of the insights down here, the insights it's pulled from the profile, the different communication styles that it's inferred from that profile, which is really, really cool. I mean, this is only having a first go at it, but for what you can get, and actually, if I refresh here, it's effectively cost 6 credits per one. So, or probably 3 credits, but I've done 2 variations of each. So you can actually get maybe 50 of these insights for 50 contacts that you can try out just by going to Autobound and then trying out the node directly in n8n. So very, very cool use case. We'll now quickly have a go on Full Enrich and see if it can grab my email or any information about my email from some vague information. So again, I've gone to Full Enrich and I've signed up and got an API key, and we get 50 credits for free here. And it's supposedly going to find potentially a contact phone and a contact email for me. So you could put in data dynamically, but for now I've just called the enrichment find email, which is a unique name. Doesn't matter what you write. Given a company domain, company name, first name, last name, and LinkedIn URL. Let's see what it pulls up. And one thing that's a little bit different about Full Enrich is that you actually need a webhook to receive the data back. So it will send off the request and it will appear like this, but you need it to send the result back to a webhook that you have. So I set up a Full Enrich trigger here, grabbed the production URL webhook and put it back into this result here, into the node. And I've made sure that the workflow is active. So it receives that, I've run it, and it's come back with the result of that. So let's go into have a look at the result. And we basically have a summary of my LinkedIn profile here, all the different positions I've been in, etc. And then down here, it's saying that the most probable email, based on what it can find, is sc@upwork.com with high probability. So it's also given a phone number. And yeah, I can tell you that is not my email. I don't have an email like that. And that is not my phone number. That is an old phone number that no longer works. So it has grabbed some information and then inferred others, but it's kind of completely wrong with the high probability that it is my email there. And yeah, honestly, a little bit disappointed with the results there. I thought that would perform better, but I don't know, have a go with your own contact details and see if you can emulate it and get it to pull information about you or other companies as well. The next key one is data extraction. So again, we've got 2 head-to-head to test here. So we've always had Mistral has a great model for OCR. We've now got an inbuilt node for Parseur, which is effectively a paid version that claims to perform OCR or optical character recognition, i.e. you send in text, you send in tables, and it turns that into structured data on the results. It claims to do that as well as some of these open source models. And what we're going to do is send a complex table of data into both of these to see how the inbuilt nodes inside n8n perform against each other. One is free and one is paid. So what we'll do is we'll pass a complex table into it. So what we'll do is convert that to a PDF. So we've taken a screenshot of a table I found online, and you can see that it's got lots of different fields. This would be quite confusing even for a human to write out. So I wanted to give it a complex case and then compare the 2 model outputs. So let's go back to the node. And what we're really asking here is Mistral, which is mostly free, better than something like a paid extraction like Parseur? And both of these now have built-in nodes inside n8n. So inside Mistral, if we go to API pricing, we can get for $1 almost 1,000 pages, which is extremely cheap and very accurate, as you'll see. We then have the AI data extraction made ridiculously simple, where you show the example of an invoice that's being extracted into structured data. But that is significantly more expensive. So we can get 20 pages a month for free. And then we very quickly, on the monthly plan, jump to extremely large costs. So 30 pence, which is about 50 cents per page if we want to do 300 pages per month, whereas we can do $1 for 1,000 using Mistral. So let's see if there's any significantly better reason to use this. And I've already passed in an example, and I've actually used up my free credits with 3 plans here. If I go into here, I can see that the complex table has been passed in. Now, the benefit of using something like Parseur is when we pass in the document here, using just the binary data, the complex table, and it's passed into this randomly named mailbox, the benefit is we can actually come into the dashboard and see the passed out data. So we can visually see the data we sent in on the left, and we can see the examples on the right. So we've got, for example, California, CP or CNP is 1, CP is 6, and then it's got all other bits of information from that row there. But if we go to something like Colorado, it seems to have picked up this first value, then not this parent value here. So it's not been perfect, but it's actually understood the structure of the table and started to break that down. So it's really cool to visually see that, and it gives us the option to break down the different fields there. Whereas something like Mistral will extract the text, so we can see the text in markdown format inside this node. But if we were to actually need to use this or compare it for validation, we would need to then put that data back into a table so that we could visualize it, or in a format that's next to the table so that we could make some comparisons. But it seems like it's pulled a lot of the information, but it's really hard to tell from this structure here. But I'd still recommend going to the Mistral inbuilt node for things where you have lots and lots of information that you want to pull, because it's extremely cheap. Now, the next one is possibly the favorite we're going to talk about today, which is GoToHuman. And if you've not heard of Human in the Loop before, it's how do we get our AI actions approved at some stage by a human in the loop. So n8n already has built-in nodes. If you open up the node window, we have the Human in the Loop here, and we can click on that. And for various apps, most of the Human in the Loop steps, let's take Slack, is actually sending a message to Slack, for example, and waiting for a response. Now, GoToHuman is effectively an extended version of that, which is, I guess, custom Human in the Loop actions. So if we go to GoToHuman, we can use the free plan to get 100 reviews and unlimited users. It's integrated with Slack. We get community support. And what we can do is effectively help supervise our AI agents or help them make actions based on the inputs that we give them back. So we have an example of a blog post creation flow here. So we have the agent workflow, which is they found trending content, they've researched the topic, they've drafted a blog post, but then at some stage you might want a human to approve that, make edits, and then send that back. So this is how it works. We have to set up the review template. So if we want a custom template, and they've also got predefined ones, we need to set up that review template. We need to then send a request to the human using an integration like Slack. And then we basically have an inbox of all actions to approve in one place. And then the information is then sent back to n8n. We're in GoToHuman. It basically guides us through setting up our first agent. So we're going to talk about a social media agent. So we're reviewing an X post, for example. We're going to set up that agent. It's then going to give us some information about what we need to send into the agent. But this is a predefined agent that's set up for us. So let's assume that we've sent this message, and what it's going to do is guide us back to the inbox. So we'll go to the inbox and it's like, okay, you've received an X post. So maybe, for example, you have a social media marketing team that will review all of your AI written posts, and it gives an LLM summary and the AI draft of the post. And we can basically say, okay, we want to approve that. And what that's going to do is effectively send that back to our webhook. So the approved post will go back to our webhook here. But the real power in this versus the inbuilt Human in the Loop nodes already in n8n, the first is that actually we can use this in one central dashboard. So all of our requests can come into GoToHuman and our team can review it in there. The second is that inside the n8n nodes, when we send these, it's always the same. It's send and wait for a response. And what we can't do really, or can't do easily, is send a response to basically make edits and updates. Whereas inside GoToHuman, if we set up this new review template, we can add any fields we want. So let's start with an example for a blog post. And we've basically got all of the different fields that we should pass back into for somebody to review. So it might be the actual source content, the source link down here, the summary here, And then we've got potentially images to review and the blog post. So we can't do this inside n8n. We can only send a message to review. So to review text, whereas actually here we can do a lot more. We can send images, etc. And we can get it to approve or reject. And like I showed you, we can literally add anything. So we can add a drop down field, and actually we can add those things and then send back different information to the receiving end as well. So let's create that form. And then what effectively we've got is a completely customized form for somebody to review. We can also assign it to certain user members. So if we come back in, we add in our API key to our credential here, and we're basically saying, send it to the review request, send and wait for a response. We've chosen the review blog post, and it will automatically load in all of the fields that we predefined here. So we've got that source link, we've got the source summary, the image grid, the blog, the drop down, and we can also add any metadata we want. But the power here is we can also say, okay, only selected users, and then add a specific email address is allowed to review these kind of posts. And if we just send an example here, and let's just send an empty request to see if that works. And what it's doing now is effectively acting like a wait node. So until the approval is made, the next actions will not take place. So let's say, for example, we passed in a pre-written blog post using a basic LLM chain that sits in this position. It sends in a specific output format, and the output format is basically the link, the summary, the images that it creates. If we were to have an image generator, it would then send that for approval. And then what we're doing is just waiting for a response. So the whole process will stop whilst we wait for a response. And then maybe it's actually after that, we schedule it to WordPress. So if approved, we actually create a draft post in WordPress. So we might have an if stage, and it's like, if this is approved, and obviously this is just a mock example right now, and let's just assume if approved, then actually we're going to create a draft post there, and only the relevant people can actually approve that in the workspace. So if we go back into the workspace, we go back into the inbox, and it's like, you've received a request to review a blog post. We go into that, and we can see that it's got test blog, and then actually we didn't correctly send things like images and the drop down, so those have come back as invalid. And so what we're going to do is actually reject that. That's been rejected, and back here it's basically said, okay, this is now rejected. So if the response is, if this is equal to or is not equal to rejected, then it's by default approved, and therefore we're going to create the post. So it's almost like the send and wait messages that are already built into n8n with the human in the loop nodes, but so much more powerful because we can send structured data, things like images, to GoToHuman, and also manage all of the approval requests for multiple processes, multiple templates in one place. So really, really powerful. And the final node that we're going to talk about today that's new into n8n is Jigsaw Stack. So I couldn't not include Jigsaw Stack because it's such a unique node that I had to talk about it. So let's go to Jigsaw Stack's website here, which is jigsawstack.com, which is basically purpose-built AI models that are custom small models trained for specialized use cases, powered by scalable infrastructure. So you would use conventional models like LLMs using OpenRouter, for example, like GPT-4 and GPT Mini and Claude 3.5 Sonnet for writing. But these are purpose-built for specific tasks so that actually you can get better results for specific tasks. So say, for example, you wanted a purpose-built web scraper, or you wanted an OCR model, or you wanted object detection. So you send in an image and you actually detect things in the object. If you sent this to an LLM, it would perform okay at it. But actually, if you have a specifically trained model for these use cases, it's going to perform much better. We've got things like web search, translation, speech to text, and actually more models included in this purpose-built platform for it. And if we go to the pricing, you get 1 million tokens for free, and everything is locked for 2 days. So what we're going to do is actually use this as an example. You just install it by going Jigsaw Stack, same as the usual, click the install button, and you can see all of the different things we can use already with this, and it's only just getting started. So we've got a great website with AI, analyze sentiment, convert natural language to SQL queries, which is a really niche but probably very powerful use case for data engineers, generate embeddings, convert a URL to an image or PDF, generate an image, and I think it uses Stable Diffusion for this, process image with visual OCR, search the web, spam detection. So all of these different use cases that you can use inside Jigsaw Stack. And we're just going to give it an example of object detection because I think it's a pretty cool use case. We've uploaded in here an image of a London bus scene, probably quite outdated now, but there's lots of different objects to detect in here. And what we're going to do is download that file and then hopefully just upload that straight into here. It looks like we need to store it as an image URL rather than here. So what we'll do is we'll just upload it to a service like ImageBB. that can just store that for us temporarily. You can also upload via the API to ImageVB, but for ease here, instead of downloading the file, we're just going to actually execute this with an image URL, which will hopefully then be able to give us, accurate results of image detection. So a specialist use case inside n8n. And don't forget to sign up for an API key from Jigsaw source stack. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to use this. What we're going to do is just use the process image. So it's described the image in detail, and we've uploaded that image with our API key connected. Captures a busy urban street scene, likely in London, based on the iconic red double-decker bus and the architecture. And then it gives all the details about that scene as well. So really cool there. It can basically look at an image and detect what's in it for us. Let's now try the object detection. And for some reason, that's not working with this. So let's try another request instead. And let's try something like image generation. So a busy London street scene, and it's input the URL. So I don't know if that's going to act as a inspiration for this. And let's execute that. And let's see what comes back, whether it gives us the binary data file back. I guess the point is that actually you have access to all of these different purpose-built AI models that are fine-tuned on specific things. And they're bringing out more and more for different models that will be able to help you achieve certain results. And we can see that it's given us an image back. So let's have a look at the image and let's see what it's generated. So actually it's generated this image. I don't know whether it's pulled this image from somewhere or just generated it based on the image we input. But you can see that actually it's taken parts of that image and actually returned that. So the Victoria 73, the GQ or GS van there, and that van in the background, it's actually returned an image that's inspired by our image. So even more impressed by this, actually. It's got the writing on the bus, maybe not the shop windows, but it's actually kind of pulled bits there and made it look like a realistic London street scene. So that's everything for today. I will leave a link in the description below to all of the different nodes that I ran over today. If you like the content, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thank you for watching.